You will have heard people say this over and over again, but the copper bulb has changed the game of Minecraft forever. Do you remember what trying to create light displays with redstone lamps was like? A huge hassle due to the way that they are powered, but of course the copper bulb not only can be powered individually, it holds its state as well, which is just fantastic. And for wiring up contraptions with redstone from the back, this is made so much easier. And so the limitations of the redstone lamp have been overcome tremendously by this new block. And it got me thinking about a very old redstone project of mine known as Lights Out. I first made this game in Minecraft all the way back in 2011. Some of you out there are 90s kids like me. You're probably getting a huge dose of nostalgia right now. This is the handheld device known as Lights Out, which was a portable puzzle game. And of course I've managed to find a website that just puts this into a web browser to give you an idea of how the game works. You press one of the tiles and it will flip the light state of its tiles and the 4 adjacent ones. And then the idea is to try and turn all of the lights out, which can be rather tricky. Have I still got it in me? Probably not. I feel like I'm getting close. I'm actually getting close to turning all of the lights on at this point. Let's not get too distracted. I am of course here to show you what I've done with the copper bulb. Yes, recreating the game of Lights Out, a project that I undertook over 12 years ago, and it was an enormous tangle of redstone that I'm going to show you in this video. However, today it's quite elegant and compact. Look at this, this is it. Now, this is not the full game with a bunch of different levels and challenges that you can take on one by one, but it's a proof of concept that we can have an interface that interacts with these bulbs in a way that recreates the same game, and you can indeed turn all of the bulbs out. Bulbs out, yeah, that don't sound like the right name for this game. Now, there is one unfortunate flaw with this. Well, actually, there's a few flaws, but this is the main one. The interface is kind of flipped. After I got this all working, I came over here, and I kind of expected this button to correspond with the top, which is what I thought would be the natural thing. And if we go down below and just sort of follow the observers, you can see, yeah, it goes from here down to the bottom. Now is a good time to talk about, I guess, how this works. We've got a row of droppers here. We're starting there because when this gets powered by the observer behind it, it also updates the blocks above and below and to the side. And so then there's other observers. So when you activate one of these droppers, it then activates the adjacent droppers and gives you the 3 bulbs lighting up. Of course, that's going to be 5 if you're in the middle like this. Now, when it comes to the input, we actually get 2 from a button when we initially press it and then when it becomes unpressed. So because of that, we need to convert it into 1 signal. You'll see this comparator is detecting the bulb is on, and therefore it's powering this one currently in its off state. So when it gets the first update, this turns off without changing that one, but the second one will change it. And that's why we have these tiled pairs of copper bulbs and comparators at every level. And then you can obviously follow these around, and the bulbs just transfer them through the corner, and that's how the buttons interact with the screen. So then the question was, how can I actually flip this interface so that the buttons at the front will change the copper bulbs at the top? I found this to be incredibly difficult. I couldn't come up with a solution, but my redstone buddy Cybot, who plays on the server, did come up with one. And it's absolutely amazing, so we're going to come back to that at the end of this video. Right now, I would like to take you back to 2011, a time of innocence when I had so much more time on my hands to do redstone. In my mind, I could conceive of all of the components that would make the Lights Out game I used to play as a child in the 90s. Wait, it took me over 6 hours to make? That's insane. I thought I spent days doing this. Well, at least I remember I was working and I had a notepad and I would write down all the different bits that I would need to build, and I kind of figured it all out before I actually came to the Minecraft world. So now you're going to see a big difference between what I just showed you. The layout here is absolutely massive, and it doesn't actually have anything really to do with redstone lamps. I decided to move blocks with sticky pistons, and then I think, yeah, look at that, there's torches to light it up. So when these blocks get pulled back, they also get illuminated. Because this, my friends, is actually a dark room. So let's just simulate what it's like when one of these lights up. I mean, you'll visually see that the blocks are a little further back as well. And then there's the interface, which isn't so pleasant. I also decided to put my name in the room, apparently. We're not going to press any buttons yet, because first of all, I want to show you the redstone. And here it is. Look at this absolute mad jumble of redstone. I had no desire, no plans to compact things and make them snug and smart. I was completely happy with just running my redstone wires all over the place. Oh, and what's up with the terrain generation over here? Look at the way the water is forming. Oh, okay, I get close to it and it disappears. Alright, whatever. So yeah, some parts of this tangle of redstone I can remember what they did, and others I wasn't so sure, so I took the time to run around and look at it, and I've got it all sussed out. The yellow over here is simply the input. This is some sort of pulse extender to create the right length of pulse to go and interact with the next circuit. And here is some sort of logic gate to activate the lime circuit. This is actually memory. This is how all the different levels of the game are remembered. So you have a piston feed tape that cycles these blocks around, and when there's glass in front of a repeater it won't create a signal, but when there's stone it will. So these blocks are essentially the level memory for the lights that are going to be on or off for each different level. These signals then connect to the purple wall. I am so glad that I chose to color code this because it makes life so much easier. There's a few bits of logic and stuff with the redstone going on, but you can see that they clearly connect to the display that we were on a moment ago. Can you see the purple wall? So that's what they control. Next up, we have a bunch of pink wool, and when we follow this down to the bottom and go across over here, you might start to figure out what this is. This is the player input. So all of this redstone comes up to those buttons that we saw earlier on. So in the middle of this heaving mess, we have blue, yellow, red, and green wool. We've reused some of those colors elsewhere, but in the middle here, you can see how they are connecting from one purple section over to the other. So as you probably guessed, when you activate one of the purple lines here, you're going to activate its neighbors as well, because when you press one of the buttons in the game, it changes the lights that are next to it. Now this light grey wall that you see over here is like a master reset, and because it doesn't actually hook up to anything else, I think this was just something left over from testing. Down here at the front where all of the lights are, there is this brown wall, and it's one big AND gate to check that all of the lights are turned off. So this is like your win detector. When you've loaded up a level and you've successfully turned off all of the lights, the brown wall then interacts with this AND gate again. The black wall is then simply a win animation, so when you first complete a level, it's going to interact with some pistons up the top here, and it creates some fancy lights behind the title of the game. So when you win a level, you're going to activate this again, which will set off that memory circuit to activate the next level through all of the lime wool. But it also branches off into the cyan wool, and this tells you what level you're on. So each time this gets activated, there's like a memory cell. I think this is it right here. This might be a very inefficient way of doing things, but it pushes over the block, so the next time the circuit gets activated, it activates each of these different level markers. You can see those over here on this side of the screen. So they go from green to yellow to red and finally grey on the last level. That is because when you complete the last level, the grey redstone or wall blocks here get activated. This actually goes all the way up to a piston door, which then unlocks the tour around all of the redstone. So inside this little room, you get a minecart, then you can ride the glowstone, and it basically goes all the way around the redstone, lets you see everything in one big minecart ride, and then goes back to that room again. So the big question is, does the redstone still work 12 years later? Well, we're going to start a new game and find out. It's currently broken because you can no longer directly power a glowstone block, so we need to put the button here. I'm betting there's other changes that are going to have broken this, right? Looks like we fired up the first level, and it looks like an easy one. Yeah, I just need to press this button, which corresponds to that one. It's closed, and then we've got another group of 5 over here. Alright, all of the redstone working so far. Are we going to get to the next level? Do we see the win animation? Oh my god, I should have drunk that milk bucket a moment ago. Anyway, let's go press these buttons and activate it all. Now the question is, do the lights light up when we win? They do! Look at that! Oh, so good. Okay. Is level 3 going to work? No, I think I've got to press the button again. Okay, that is a much harder challenge than the last ones. They were really straightforward. Let's start pressing a few buttons. Oh, I think I know how to do this then. Okay, we've got the top bit sorted. Okay then, I guess this was an easy level. Just got to press that. And we've done another one. Sweet! It still works, I can barely believe this. By the way, this is still available for download. If you want to fire it up and play it yourself, you can do. Although you need to convert the world. I think what I'll do is I'll provide a link in the description box with the updated world download, since this thing still works. So I'm going to create a challenge for myself in my downtime to kind of recreate all of this and try and compact it with some modern redstone wiring. I don't know how long it'll take me, but apparently this only took me 6 hours, which is kind of crazy. And I'm wondering if any of these systems will interact with Cybot's redstone over here. Before he figured it out, I was messing around with all sorts of different ideas, and this is an example of the problem that we have. We want to get this signal here from there. Thought about using rails to activate different observers further on. Had some vague ideas that maybe the changing of a signal strength could get the signal from one spot to the other. And then I goofed around with other wiring ideas that just didn't really lead anywhere. And you might be able to see the solution already. What Cybot thought of is to use the other dimension we're not looking at and to extrapolate these signals out to the side. So where we have this cross pattern, the row behind it is going to have that cross pattern to get those signals out. You can see this on the inside over here, but that's hidden behind these observers. So the middle row just acts like it did before. It goes down, across, and straight up. But those other ones, they do this crisscross, and therefore they can come out here to the side. It's pretty darn impressive. There's also a little bit of compacting just going on here in front of the display. But then, of course, Cybot took things to the next level by introducing minecart rails. So the concept is still somewhat the same, I believe, but everything has just been madly compacted and optimized to use as little space as possible, and then really taking advantage of rails to send the signals across. So rather than a chain of observers going in one line, you can see these rails are being used to help transmit the signals. I mean, this is absolutely brilliant. There's no way I could do this. My hat goes off to you, Cybot. This is awesome. And I know you've been waiting for it, so let's go ahead and press a button. That is now down in the bottom there where you'd kind of anticipate it to be, right? And it's much more responsive. It doesn't take as long for a signal to get around. I still think these ones at the top here are slightly quicker. So the further back you go, or maybe to the sides, there might be some additional delays, but it's faster. And I can't say the redstone is more compact, but it is really well optimized. So yeah, I'll have a challenge for myself that I'll just chip away at in the background, and maybe one day I'll have something else to follow up on this with, but that's all I'm going to be showing you for today. Really hope you enjoyed this nostalgic plunge into some old school redstone and checking out what's possible with the copper bulbs. This is really something. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe if you want to catch more redstone-y stuff, and I'll see you soon with another one. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.